All right, so in problems 2 and 3, we're also asked whether this is a function or not. But in number 1, they gave us a graph, and in problems 2 or 3, they give us a bunch of points. So here they just listed the points, and here they put them in a table. So how do we tell if it's a function when we're given a list of points, either this way or that way? So I created a handout that I think does a good job of showing that. If you want to know if points are a function or not, you basically need to focus on the x values. And you're asking yourself a question. Do any of the x values repeat? Okay, do any of the x values repeat? So let's take a look here. 2, 4, 0, 9, 3. Can we agree that those are all different numbers for x values? Anytime that happens where the x values are all different, it is definitely a function. So in this one, I just know it's a function. Why? The x values are all different. So the relation to the right is a function. Why? Because all of the x values are different. Okay, so let's look at problem number 3 now. Again, is this a function or not? Well, I don't know. So I'm going to look at the x values. -4, -2, 0, 2, 4, 6. Are these all different numbers? Yeah, they're all different. So again, if all the x values are different, then I just know it's a function. So it is a function. Why? Because same thing. All of the x values are different. Okay, so technically we're done with problems 2 and 3. And if all you wanted to do was get number 2 and 3 done, you could stop the video. But if you want, you might be asking yourself, all right, but what if the x values weren't all different? Then how would we do the problem? So if you'd like to watch for a couple more minutes, I can answer that question for you. So let's take a look at these two scenarios here, and let's look at how these are different than the problems we did in right here. Okay, so like let's look at these points. Do you see how these x values do repeat? 2 and 2. So now the x values are not all different. These two are exactly the same. And let's take a look at down here. Okay, 2 and 2. Again, the x values repeat. So when the x values repeat, then it might be a function or it might not be a function. So how do you tell the difference? Let's look at this first one here. Do you see how the x values repeat, but the y values are exactly the same as well? When that happens, it's still a function, okay? So if the x values repeat, but the y values are exactly the same as well, it's still a function. And if that's the case, you could write something like this. And now let's look down here. Do you see how the x's repeat? But now look at what happens when we look at the y's. Do you see how the y's are different? This one's a 5, and this one's a 3. This is what it looks like when a list of points is not a function. So the x's repeated, but the y's were different, okay? This is the only situation where you have to look at it and be like, that's not a function, okay? Let's take a look at what it would look like in the table. So again, up here, the x's are the same, but so are the y's. Not a problem, still a function. But over here, we look and the x values repeat, but the y values were different each time. Again, this is what you're looking at that makes you say, that's not a function. And I just want you to know that on the document where you probably saw the link for this video, right next to that, I'm going to put a link to this document. So if you want to look at this later to help you study, it will be there for you. So thanks for watching. And good luck.